All right, welcome back to Bayou Time. I'm Martin Foss with Council Chair Darrin Guidry, also Councilman in District 6. Sometimes I don't say that. He is in District 6. So he is the councilman who's the council chair. We appreciate you coming. A lot to talk about. So first of all, welcome.
Welcome, and as always, thank you for having us, and thank you for giving the Parish Council an opportunity to go over our agendas each week.
Absolutely. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to get to the council vote. Remember, because of the resignation of Councilman John Navy, there's a vote Wednesday. We're going to talk about that in the latter part of either this segment or the one next. So stay tuned for that. But let's talk about some general things. The Buquet Bridge has been a big talk. Where are we on that right now?
Well, tonight we're going to find out exactly, where we are. We don't, rather than every councilman calling our FEMA consultant and asking them the status of the bridge, although the Buquet Bridge has been a very important issue for all of us who serve on the council, and that's the bridge that's in Dulac that a lot of people use, and it avoids a lot of traffic off of Shrimpers Row. And so that bridge is vital for emergency evacuation, it's vital for commerce, and it's vital for, just general quality of life for people. But it's been a touchy situation. Is it going to be repaired? Is it going to be replaced? What will FEMA approve? And until FEMA, you can't start any construction until FEMA gives their okay.
That's the million-dollar question, right?
So Councilman Danny Babin put this on the agenda for a public update to inform all the council members and the general public exactly what the status is. Where are we in the FEMA process? When is this going to bid? And when will this begin to be engineered? Because this is a big issue for everybody on the council.
And, we say it often, we take our bridges for granted, especially if around St. Anne's and Bergs and, you go for the Buquet Bridge, but we take them for granted when they're not there or they need work, and we got to go a little extra couple of miles to make the turnaround. We miss them, don't we?
No doubt, and I sure hope that this bridge, when construction does begin, will not nearly be as long as what we're experiencing in Berg with that DOTD bridge. That's going to take 5 years or whatever to construct. Yeah, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah,
but that we'll be discussing that tonight. We'll have all the FEMA consultants there to tell us the process and where we are.
Now let's jump to the elderly, because I think y'all have some issue coming up for discussion tonight on a new elderly program. Is that in the works, and can you explain that to us?
Well, Councilman Carl Harding put on the agenda a resolution supporting a program similar that's in Mechanicville, that's put on by a company called Gulf Coast Teaching and Family Services. It's an elderly program that's done in Mechanicville. And so Councilman Harding wants to expand that to Gray and Gibson. I don't know a whole lot about the resolution. I guess we'll learn about it this evening. But I guess the question from Councilman Harding is what potential funding sources would be available for this, and can he get a resolution of support for this particular program?
Yeah, no doubt. Look forward to hearing that. Something we don't talk a lot about here on the show, but if we don't have this also, we get confused, is striping of streets. If you don't have striping, it's hard to tell where you're at sometimes.
Road striping has been a big issue, and it's something I've been working on for 3 or 4 years. We've gotten some of them done, like on Industrial Boulevard and parts of Valhalla. But we are going to award the contract at our meeting tonight to begin a big striping program that will cover throughout the parish. Some of the roads, particular Woodlawn Ranch Road, has been, pretty much you just have to look for the asphalt filler in the center to know where the center of the road is. So Woodlawn Ranch Road will also have other parts of Valhalla that didn't get striped in the first round will be striped. St. Louis Canal Road and many, many others. This is just a few highlights, but it'll be throughout the parish. We'll be working on road striping.
Yeah, and obviously people are going, I never heard him talk about striping before. So, but there are a lot of low intangibles, especially that we all find out after a hurricane, light poles, light fixtures, striping, that is involved in parish government that we really just take for granted.
But also let me stress, Martin, like we stress always, this is just parish roads, such as Woodlawn Ranch Road, but this does not affect the state highways. I get a lot of phone calls in my district on Highway 311 and some parts of 311 that aren't properly striped, and that when it's raining and that blacktop gets covered with water, you cannot see the striping.
Before we get to the vote of the council, which is very important, that Bayou Terrebonne lock system got hit by a barge, has to be fixed. How's that coming?
Well, we're actually going to do an emergency ordinance to use our emergency funds to repair that until we get the insurance proceeds from the company whose barge hit the miter gate. As you know, we have a sector gate, the old Bayou Terrebonne lock, our gate that was there. The parish built a miter gate to go on the other side to create a lock out of it. The miter gate is the one that was hit by a company, by a boat from Inland Marine. And so they're in the process right now of going through the insurance company and the bids and everything else, but we can't wait until insurance. And with the hurricane season, we understand how long it takes for insurance.
And also, we were just on the verge of turning on those cameras that we put on a lot of the floodgates for hurricanes. So, I mean, they'll serve a dual purpose moving forward.
You know, when I served in the Terrebonne Levee District, and we had just built the Bush Canal and the Placid Gate, and they were out in the middle of nowhere, and some of these boats only had a foot on either side of clearance. And, you know, I first tried to get my fellow levee board members to support putting cameras there, and it wasn't getting a whole lot of traction until the Leon Terrio floodgate in South Lafourche got hit. And they were and the barge just continued going, and they were able to use their footage to prove that it was that barge. And then all of a sudden, we finally began a project.
We have beautiful high-def cameras on all of those, plus Leon Terrio, plus a few others. So it's always good to see, especially during storm. All right, let's switch gears. Yeah, me and you talked about this. It's no secret that on Wednesday, y'all going to have a vote to replace the consul position of John Navy, who resigned. Give me your thoughts. That's coming down to, is it 4-4 still? Are we still at that level? Or will we be surprised?
Well, you know, people think we always know going into these things how other people vote, but we don't. Right. I mean, we could assume that when there's a type of situation and we're thrust into, you know, trying to decide the will of the voters, it's very difficult. And so not to read too much into what's going to happen tonight, or should I say on Wednesday, but if we're successful in appointing somebody, that person will actually only serve for like 3 or 4 months. So it's not, no matter who gets appointed, the world is not going to change in 3 or 4 months.
Because there's an election in 3 months.
Exactly. So, however, we do have 4 candidates that have applied. And again, they can run for election if they do get appointed by the council.
And if they can or they cannot?
They can, yes. It does not preclude them from running if they are appointed by the council to fill this seat, only until the March election. So again, 3 or 4 months. But if you want, I'll run through the candidates. The first candidate is Brian Pledger, and Brian's resume includes he's been working since 2017 at Barker, Barker Honda. He's a sales customer service person over there at Barker Honda. He's been doing that. He's also ex-military. He served at the U.S. Navy for 10 years, from 1990 to 2000. And his secondary education is at Century Business College in San Diego, California. And he's a newcomer. You know, he's never run for political office, or at least in his resume, it doesn't list any any type of political ventures. Then we have Reverend Corian Gray. And Reverend Gray is currently the senior pastor teacher at New Zion Baptist Church. And prior to that, he was a special ed teacher for the School for Exceptional Children, assistant football coach at Oak Lawn Middle High School, and he's also a newcomer to politics, or doesn't list any on his resume. And his secondary education includes English language arts from Nicholls State University.
Okay.
Our third person is Mr. Lionel Tony Lewis Jr. Mr. Lewis works for Riverbirch Renewable Energy as a truck driver. He's been doing that since January, and he lists his secondary education as Fletcher Technical College. His history, he did run for the seat in 2019 when Mr. Navy was up for re-election. He lists himself as a volunteer football coach for TPR for 6 years and a basketball coach for TPR for 3 years, among other items.
Okay.
And the final one that came in today, and of course, this is as of, we're here at 2 p.m. On Monday. They do have a couple of hours. Somebody could submit a last thing before 4 p.m., but I don't believe so. So I believe this is the last one, and that's Mr. Alvin Tillman, who does have a history in politics. He has served he served 3 terms as parish councilman in the city of Houma. He was the first black council chair. He was employed by Gertrude Guinness Willis Life Insurance. He's a graduate from the Oilfield Specialty Institute, and of course, as he serves on the Louisiana Workforce Development Board, Community Development Block Grant Board, and the National Association of Black County Officials, among other things. So
All right, very
we have
good.
a bunch of candidates.
Yeah, I thought there was only 2. Now you're telling me there's 4, so.
We have 4 candidates, and so now if the council cannot, 5 members have to agree on a candidate.
Right.
So it's not necessarily majority they're voting, it's a majority of the council members.
Right.
If it's split, if the council can't agree, 5 members can't agree on one person, then it goes to the governor to decide.
That's it. Well, I appreciate that information. Thank you for coming again, and we'll see you next time around.
Thank you, Martin.
All right, there you have it, Councilman Guidry. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Don't go away.